G'day everyone, Asian Dad here. How are you guys going? Hope you guys doing pretty good. And I'm doing a little bit of difference here to make this a little bit different. I'm actually going to do this as live streaming here, so I can actually talk to you guys as well while I'm doing this. Now I've just been playing with the streaming here. Now you know from my past I've never had a very good audio, and I'm hoping we're getting a much better audio, as well as I'm doing a bit of a multicam setup here to try and get this thing working just so better in the future. So what we're going to try and do is show you kind of what I'm going to do is I've actually switched from my good old Apple products. I actually did a whole eco change. So I went from an Apple ecosystem to now a Samsung or Android system. So it's been quite a bit of a journey. I did that about a week ago. Now, if you haven't followed me in my Instagram, I kind of put that on there. And this is just my follow-up after having a week with it. Now, I haven't had too much crazy amount of play with, because I've been quite simply very busy. You probably noticed that last week I didn't actually post any sort of new videos. I was busy filming. I just had a lot of stuff happening at work. And also at this sort of time of year in Australia, we've got our tax due, so I was getting that sorted out as well. Now I've got a live chat going as well, and I've had a quick test, and it looks like I've got about a 20-second delay. So if I am a little bit slow on your chat, I'm sorry about that. I'm reading that. I've got the screen over here, and I've got a mouse going as well too. So let me tell you what I've got, what I used to use firstly, and that is I had my good old trusty iPhone 6S. Now I've had this for, how many years have I had this for? Probably a good 6 years or so. I can't remember. Whenever the 6S came out, I pretty much got this. And I really love the 6S, especially with the home key. This was a brilliant things. And throughout the years, I didn't really need to change my 6S because it was working quite well. This is not the first 6S I've got. This is actually the second one, because I actually lost the very first one to the sea. When I was shift fishing, and I kind of was busy on my phone. I tell you, I shouldn't be doing that when I'm fishing, but I was answering a message and I dropped my phone to the sea. So a lot of salt water went into it, but I managed to actually get it back out with a net and some hard. I think it took me about an hour, but after that, I took it to dry up for about 28 days. And unfortunately, that phone just never came back again. So I managed to get Apple warranty. Well, because I had Apple Key on it, so they basically got me a replacement, and so this is this one here. So what really made me stick to the iPhone for a very long time was because I had my good old Apple Watch. This is Apple Watch Series 3, and I actually went through Apple Watch Series 1. I never got the 2. This is the 3, so this has the LTE, and that was what I really made me survive through this Apple Watch for a very long, Apple iPhone 6 for a very long time. So I'm not a massive user of the Apple for a long time, because I only just really use for your simple emails. Got GPS on it and some apps, and of course used to play a little bit of games, not anymore these days anyway. G'day, how's it going? Let's look, migrating back from Windows to Android, and mainly g'day, Midnight Callan, how are you? I'm just reading that off. Interested in currently migrating back from Windows, Android to Mac OS, no, mainly for the way everything syncs together. Yeah, nice. Yes, I know. I was, this is one thing I had in mind, because if you haven't followed my channel for a while, I was a big Mac user. I pretty much had a MacBook Pro. Actually, I went through iMac Pro. I've been a Mac user for more than a decade. It's probably about 15 years now. So I've been a massive long user of Apple products, and it's only just since probably the iPhone, I think it was probably, I was hoping for iPhone 10 being a very good product. It just kind of disappointed me on that, and I never actually upgraded that for the iPhone 10. And I just didn't find the new functionality in there, and that's pretty much it, the functionality. And it was really just a new type of screen. I didn't find it. They actually lost the 3D touch, which I really enjoy, the feedback. But the integration between these products, and of course I've got the AirPods. They were fantastic, and to this day I still think they are fantastic products because I've still never lost them, and they worked every time. The only reason why I kind of went and got the new Samsung, what do they call, Galaxy Buds Live, is only because these ones here are starting to show their age. I'm only getting around about 30 minutes battery out of each bud now, and even the case itself, it's only lasting about 2 hours or so. I kind of wore these ones down to their battery lives. And these, I've had a few wireless headphones. I've got the Bose as well. I've had the Sonys, but every time I always came back to the AirPods. It's quite simply because when you connect them, they stay stable, very stable. I don't lose connections, and they charge very quick, whereas a lot of the other ones, I pretty much were having issues with either connection wise, or they lose connections, or they're just stability problems. In the end, I always came back to the AirPods. But the only problem with the AirPods is if you're not on a Mac, which I kind of stopped using a MacBook Pro for about 2 years now. It's not great trying to actually pair them up to a Windows computer and just pair them. But if you've got a MacBook Pro or MacBook and you've got an iPhone and an Apple Watch, it all works very seamlessly together. They actually jump between each other. That's one thing I do miss going to the Samsung system, and I'm going to talk to you about that as well too, about each pros and cons of each product I've got here. So I actually changed the phone, I changed the watch, and changed the earbuds or headphones anyways and I'll tell you about each one and what I loved and what I don't like. Now let's start off with, firstly is, I'll just quickly read this one. Looking forward to hearing your thoughts. Yeah, thank you very much. I actually enjoy making the videos there. Thank you for joining me there. All right, now, so first up, phone-wise. So what I end up getting after many research, and I waited for a very long time because I actually waited this year particularly because this one is giving me a lot of GPS issues as well as battery. I actually changed the battery on this, so battery-wise it was doing all right, but it was all because of software updates from Apple that kind of forced me. It got so slow, I couldn't really use it, barely usable anymore these days. Anyway, so what I did was pretty much waited and looked at a lot of the Android products out there. And unfortunately, one of the things that I love using about my phone and watch is Apple Pay. I use it a lot. It is my lifesaver. So after I found out a lot of Android phones here in Australia, a lot of the Chinese phones, which is what I was really looking at, because I was trying to bring the budget down to around about, in Australia, about $1,000. I don't know what that equates to in US, probably around about 400 or 500 US dollars, but here in Australia it's about $1,000. What I was trying to bring it onto, I didn't really want to spend Apple's prices at $2,000 or $2,500 here in Australia. I just didn't want to, let's say I would say, support them, try and bang up the prices all the way through and not give us more functionality. It seems to be they've been doing more services than actually bringing better hardware. And I was very disappointed with that. And I saw that in the MacBook Pro, hence why I started moving that product off. And I was slowly, for the 2 or 3 years, I've actually been trying to move myself away from Apple services so I can actually do the jump. And when I did do the jump, it wasn't as bad, I gotta say. Anyway, so enough me babbling. So after that, I was actually looking for a lot of Android phones, and I was actually waiting for, so I originally only had Samsung to do, because they can do the Samsung Pay, which would work for the tap and go for paying system, because that's what I really use a lot, is a major thing for me. And so what I end up with was deciding between the Samsung S20 FE and also the S20 Note Ultra, because I was really after the camera, because that's what I've been using. So after I worked out, it's pretty much Samsung. Only had 2 phones to work out. So in the end, I end up going with the Samsung S20 FE, because it's simply for 3 reasons actually. One was the price was correct, which is around the price I was looking for. The 20S was about 2,000, so it's twice the price of this. And also the cameras were practically the same on the 20 FE and the 20 Note Ultra. The only difference is the telephoto was much better on the 20 Ultra, which I actually don't use. The other thing that the 20 FE was really nice looking. I'm not trying to sell this phone to you, but what it looked to me was the selfie camera, which I might end up using later on in some of my lives for it. So it had a very good selfie camera, very high megapixels, around 30 something megapixels anyway, whereas the 20 Ultra only had 12 megapixels. So that was one of the big selling points of it. Now, one of the things I do like about the Samsung range is a lot of the products, when they do, but they actually come with a few things that I didn't expect that Apple no longer do anymore. First off is the screen protector. Samsung actually comes with a screen protector already built into it, so you don't have to buy extra screen protector, so that way saves me money. Fantastic. Second off is, I've got it plugged in at the moment, but it comes with a 15-watt adapter self-charger, fast charger, so you don't have to buy another adapter. Great stuff. I know the new Apple phones, they don't do that anymore. They only give you a USB cable. The other thing I was really annoyed by, I think I was looking at the iPhone 12. I was hoping if it was going to be good, I might stick with iPhone 12. But the other thing they did was, surprise to me, sorry if I bumped the microphone, is they stuck with the lightning cable. Now, I was expecting them to move over to USB-C. A lot of my devices are USB-C these days. I bought some specialized equipment that was USB-C, expecting iPhone to also move over to USB-C because of them being forced by the I think it's the UK or UM. Apple has to sometime move over to USB-C in order to comply with that law. So I was surprised they stuck with the Lightning port, probably trying to make money as always. So that was my probably third reason why I didn't continue sticking with the Apple system. Now me moving from iOS to Android, it's been quite a nice experience. The migration wasn't that bad. You can do it over the cloud, but I pretty much just plugged it in with a USB cable. I think Samsung was really nice. They actually gave me adapter goes between USB-C to Lightning cable. That was fantastic. I didn't even have to pay for it. They just gave it to me. Before I have to say anything, I'd like to give a very special thank you to one of the salesperson at Samsung over at Kansas City. Her name is Stephanie. She actually helped me a lot in answering a lot of questions before I started buying these products anyway. So definitely a shout out to her from Samsung, and she was a massive help there. Anyway, going back to it, they do have a special software that actually, I think Apple does the same thing where you can actually migrate between the two different types of ecosystems, and pretty much brought it across all my photos, my messages. What else did it brought out? Notes, reminders. Reminders are a bit interesting. I'm still trying to work this out on Google, but reminders was brought over kind of-ish. I haven't seen the other way around yet. I've seen it on my clients. They have brought some over. It's quite successful as well. And I think the only thing that I needed to do was pretty much sign into all the services for all of the applications. They did try pretty much bring all the applications through to the Samsung. Now, so in terms of phone-wise, now that I've used both, and I have used the iPhone 11 and iPhone 12 for a lot of my clients, and it hasn't really changed that much. I've got to say, I really enjoy my experience over Android. I like the new bits and pieces you can do that was really restrictive of iOS. One of the restrictions that I got really annoyed by, and that is the default apps. You are stuck with what Apple decides, which is the browser was stuck on Safari. I no longer use Safari because I'm not longer on a MacBook Pro. It's great if you are on a MacBook Pro. This is the integration part with the iCloud, being able to bring your bookmarks across, and also if you've got iPads that you can do the reading list and between the different devices. It's fantastic. Also, when you're actually doing your emails or jump between each one, the continuity is fantastic. I do miss that part of it, but I've got to say Android and Windows have chased up a fair bit from what I can see and what I've experienced so far. So I'd say jump hasn't been that bad. I didn't miss too many for me. So the other thing that I found moving over to Android is some of these nice, really funky little things that just Android's probably had it for many years. And I think I might just try to show it to you. I'm not sure if any of you guys are Apple people or Android people. I'm going to try and bring up this webcam going through so you guys can see. So there's a few nice little functions I like to see, and that is I like having this little quick menu you can do, which is really nice that you can do. And if someone messages me, it'd be great because they bring up a little quick menu here that you can actually see other people talking to you very quickly. One of the really cool things I've got to say, now I know this is going to some of the private messages, but some of the nicest thing you can do is bring up, I'm just going to try and bring up something like, for example, this one here is the multitasks here. So you can actually do split screen. I like having you can actually do things, which I actually find very useful because I will do my emails or entering other things as well. So this is split screen is fantastic. It would be nice if iPhone did this. I know the iPad OS can do it, but they didn't bring it to the iPhone, in the iOS for the iPhone. So that's a bit of a bummer, trying to force you to actually buy the iPad there. The other thing I find really nice is definitely the expanded screens for all the money. One of the cool things I did do, I don't know if I can show this on screen onto my computer because my computer's doing the streaming for this, is you can actually connect this to the computer directly and have your computer remote into this into the Android and then just use this with a keyboard and mouse, which is really great, like using the iOS, not even going through DeX. I haven't talked about DeX yet, but the fact that you can actually control the whole phone using a keyboard and mouse as an interface on your computer. So I can't, like I said, I can't really show this to you now, but it's really nice you can do that. The other thing you can do, the other thing I really like is the fact that you can actually have the different volumes. So you can have different ones for your, sorry, I'm trying to bring that out. How do I get that back? See, I'm still getting that. I'm going to try to do this thing. Let's bring this out. Swipe up. Okay. Now, can I bring this thing? Hello. Oh, is there a way to bring it? Okay. The fact that you can have ringtones separate, you can notifications separate, system and media is separate volumes. Where if the iPhone, it is all the exact same one button that does everything, which is a bit of an annoyance. So you find that you can only do one volume that does everything, which is a bit of an annoyance. Sometimes you want the ringtone, and you don't really want to touch the applications volume. So I really like that. Anyway, sorry, I better go back to what I was talking about. I'll just bring this up. Sorry, I was about to talk about default apps as well too. So, no, sorry, there's Google coming, bringing itself up. Is default apps wise, with the iPhone, you're stuck with Apple Music and also the Safari browser. Now and also Apple Maps as well too. Whereas Android, of course, you can customize to whatever heart you content. I enjoy that because I actually use Spotify as my default music app. I can now use that because this was annoying me when I, especially in the car, it just automatically went to Apple Music and I couldn't get it off. And also with the web browser as well, I don't use Safari, I actually use Brave or Chrome anyway. So it's nice that you can actually change to those two, to whatever you feel like. So that's been very, very nice. And I've got to say, I'm very impressed on the camera quality on this here, especially for only about $1,000. I'm thinking it's probably about the same as the iPhone 12 when I came out for the camera quality. So I really enjoy having played with this. I haven't had too much play with it, and I've been playing with some of the stability of the video, just to let you know that I think there is a little bit with this super steady. It does degrade the video a little bit. I've been playing with it, but it does amazing job. It does do a crop to actually do that all processing, but it does amaze me how fast it is because it does it in real time anyway. Enough of me babbling about the phone. Let's get to the next product here. So next product I will say is probably the watch. Now, as for Apple Watch, now this is only Apple Watch 3. Now, Apple Watch Series 3 and Apple Watch Series 4 and 5, very, very similar. I think there's pretty much just the ECG, which doesn't work here in Australia. And I think the other thing that is different is, I think it's got the new blood heart rate. I haven't really looked at it anyway. I wasn't that interested because they really didn't do too much to it. They didn't change any of the functionality. But sorry, I might as well just read this comment. The 20 SE is a great piece. I think it is a great piece of hardware too. My main concern is the reason why I didn't switch to it as the main phone is the amount of background unauthorized data is transferring outside. I actually haven't really looked on the data wise because I don't really use much in terms. I just tell you what I use anyway, so which is emails, maps, music, and messaging for like all the different types of like instant messages, and that's pretty much all I've used so far. I haven't really played with it. If you've got an idea on what you're talking about in terms of background, because I usually am a pretty good user. I actually, if I'm not using it much, I will just flick it away, so it's not actually running around in the background. And I think that came through the iPhone's exact same problem as well. So that's because of the battery drain. Well, annoying. Now, as terms of the privacy that I think you might be trying to talk about as well, is they're very similar. Every time something wants to do something, especially location-wise, they both will ask you to either, they both have the exact same idea, is they'll either ask you want to allow it all the time or only when the application is running. So they both do the same thing for location-wise and privacy. As for the background data, now I didn't really find this iPhone was really grabbing data in the background as much. As for the Samsung, I think it's about the very similar. I don't know. I have to really monitor if there's an application that can do it. I have a quick read of it. According to my network monitor, it came up 23 megabits in roughly a day of all background sync disabled. Okay, I wonder what's that 23? Is it like compass? I know the iPhone was doing a lot of compass calibration. That was sucking a lot, and also the cellular, trying to find locations for that. I'm not sure, is it because my iPhone 6 was just screwy, but it was doing something similar to that, where it's just constantly doing some sort of weird things in the background. And I found I started to have to reboot this phone a lot more as the years went by. Probably every 3 days I have to reboot this phone. Now, I gotta say, and before when I started, this phone was great because I only rebooted maybe every 6 months or so, and that was the beauty of iOS. But as times go by with the iOS, because I think this thing started with iOS 9 and then went to 10. 11 was all right. 12 and 13 was really bad, I've got to say. That's the turning point. 12 and 13 was starting to get really nasty. And it was just, I think it was all the extensions that allowed to other applications, and it started become very unstable when I started to reboot the iPhone a lot more often than I wanted to anyway. So yeah, let me have a look at this. It's gone to servers in Samsung. Oh, okay, so it's looking for something from Samsung, does it? Okay, I'll have a read about that offline after find out if there is any data that goes to Samsung. I know there is some sort of Samsung bloatware. Luckily, I've kind of disabled Bixby because that was totally rubbish. I've been even the Samsung people were like saying just use Google Assistant, it was probably better. So I've kind of disabled. Hopefully, I'm not sure if that is if that could be that's causing some data transfer. For me, I'm lucky. I don't have too much problem with data-wise because I've got some very nice plans here, which is pretty much now unlimited data. So I don't have to worry about the data plans. Before then, I was only about 30 gigs per month, and I was barely using about 2 gigs anyway. So I'm not a massive high user of LTE data because I'm mostly under Wi-Fi. But that could be a problem for if you're in a country that has very small data plans. So I would be worried about that if you're not doing anything and it's already transferring a little bit of megabytes, especially if you're doing roaming as well. I know if you're international roaming, at the moment it's hard to travel because of COVID, but that would be something I'll be worried about, and especially if you're holding a phone for a fair number of years, and I'm sure probably another year or so we can then start traveling around the globe anyway. So that is something, like I said, this one I kept for a very long time. I don't try to upgrade without the need to upgrade because I just don't want to all about sustainability. I don't see the need to upgrade every year if I need to. I can quite happy find the same functionality. I'm happy to do that anyway. So yes. Sorry, I'm just going to go there. Now, it makes sense. Just my OnePlus. Now, I was actually looking at the OnePlus. I think it was OnePlus 8, but unfortunately here in Australia, it's extremely hard to get the OnePlus here in Australia. I did look into it, and I was a little bit worried also about the warranty-wise if anything went wrong. So that's also something I had to put in consideration. Now, I hear from the reviews the OnePlus is fantastic. A lot of people love the OnePlus. Right, so which has a real background and the same scenario. Oh yeah, that's good to see that they don't really do, which means their their mobile OS is very good, which means also very light as well too. That's also one of the things. I didn't look at Samsung at the start because I didn't like the extra bloatware thing, and I really was looking forward to the Pixel just because I didn't want any of that stuff. But unfortunately, they didn't give a really great phone out, so went to Samsung, unfortunately. I wouldn't say unfortunately. I'm having a very good experience, I've got to say, with especially this 20 FE. So the data limit is not a concern, with just privacy. We have unlimited 5G. Oh, that's good. That's cool. So yeah, wow, unlimited 5G. You guys on 5G? We're barely getting 5G here. This is a 5G version, but I haven't used the 5G here in Australia, so I don't know how fast it is, but it's just in case there. It just came with it anyway. I don't think we even have the non-5G here for the phone-wise. They just sell it. I think it was the same with the iPhone 12. It's all 5G these days. Everyone bring out 5G. It's a matter if the country has 5G or not. I don't think we're rolling. I think we've got one carrier that's rolling out 5G, but they're too expensive to be on anyway in the first place. They do limit your data a fair bit as well too. Anyway, I'll just keep carrying on. Now, I'll just go back to watches in a way. So with watch-wise, now with this one here, what I got, let me bring this out here. What I ended up getting was the new Samsung Watch 3, it's called, yeah, Galaxy Watch 3. Now, this was brought out probably at the same time. I didn't realize it was brought out at the same time anyway. Now, I love the look of this Samsung Watch 3. It looks so much nicer than this square piece of, very boring watch. And unfortunately, I don't see Apple changing from this design much. But I really love it. And I really do like this rotating thing. I think it's called bezel, which is really good. Now, I really love this bezel. Now, I know there was the Galaxy Active 2 that was made available to me as well too, but I ended up getting this one here. Now, one of the reasons why I went for the Galaxy Watch 3, not because it's new, was because I like this bezel turning thing. Now, one reason why I like about it is because it gives you protection to the screen. This is my probably third watch. I've done 2 replacements for this for cracked screens because I keep hitting through things all the time, and it's usually to the side here. If I'm carrying something, I'll just whack it by accident smallly, and every time whack, and then it just started cracking, and it's very expensive to replace. These are very expensive to replace. So again, luckily I had Apple Care that helped me out. It didn't bring it to crazy price, but if you didn't have Apple Care, it's practically a new watch you're paying for. But luckily I had Apple Care. It was only about a third of the price, but every time it's still very painful in a way. So it was, I think I've got a few dents on this already, but yeah, so whereas this one, it's got that bezel, so that's great on this, for me whacking on things. I've already whacked it a few times already, and I've only had this for a week already. But again, it has not shown any sort of dents, which is fantastic. And also know one thing for some of the people who do this a lot. Now, this was a complaint about one of my clients. What they do is, I'll just show it to you. I'll bring it into one of my hands up anyway. Is they actually do is they like to cross their hands a lot. Now, when they cross their hands, I'm just doing it right now. When you cross your hands, you're constantly forcing a touch on the screen itself, and then it becomes asking you what type of watch face, and it becomes a bit of annoying. So I know some people were annoyed by that. Unfortunately, it's a habit thing. But with this, they don't have that problem because when you cover it, it has got the bezel to help you out to not touch the screen. Now, as for, I'm just going to have to sort of take this out. Now, as for responsiveness, I've got to say the watch, even this is the Watch 3 compared to the watch. This is newer, so this is a fair number of years. This, I have to say, is way faster than the watch, the Galaxy Watch 3. So, sorry, it's getting confusing. The Apple Watch is way quicker and responsive compared to the Watch 3. So this is one thing I found, is this is a bit sluggish compared to that. The other thing I've also noticed straight away, and I think my friends have noticed, is especially when you're using so this is also the LTE version as well too. So I also found that the Pay system, so this is the Apple Pay, this is the Samsung Pay. I found some of the older terminals for the FPOS machines, it sometimes wouldn't read the Watch 3. Now I actually went and talked back to Samsung about this, and it turns out some of the older ones, especially with the magnetic strip, it doesn't like them. So, and you'll usually have to go back to using your phone to do the tap and pay. So I definitely found that the Watch Pay system on I think it's the NFC part of the Watch 3, it had to be really close, and even then it was a bit sluggish as well. So this one was very quick, bang, 1, 2, 3, hold it in, bang, and that was it. To activate this one here was very easy. You just hold on one side, and it does the same thing as the Apple Watch, where you just hold on the side and it will activate the Apple Pay. But definitely, pay system wise, this I felt very clunky, and that was probably one thing I didn't like about the Watch 3 the Samsung Watch 3, but I definitely found it wasn't unlivable, but it would be nice if it came a bit better. Now, as for LTE wise, when I was taking calls, because I do forget my phone a lot, hence why I prefer to have LTE. So LTE wise, phone calls, they're both very similar. Sound quality wise, for both sides, it was very similar. I really wouldn't put them apart. They took calls very well. They also answered very well as people said they didn't have any problems hearing me as well, very well as well. So they're both pretty much on par in terms of LTE wise, taking a call. Now, as for the battery wise, is it worth upgrading? Sorry, worth upgrading for Gear 3 to Watch 3? Unfortunately, I don't know, mate. Just because I didn't really look at the Gear 3, I think there's a few people who review it. I just went and bought this one here because I was talking to Samsung directly. I said, what's your 2 latest ones out there? And it was the Watch 3 or the Active 3. Now, I think for the Gear 3 is a little bit older style. Does it still has the bezel? I'm not sure, Nicholas. Thank you for joining me, Nicholas. But does it has a bezel as well? Because I didn't see that Samsung store. They didn't actually have it in their nice little compartment, is what I call it. So I don't know about that. But yeah, I didn't really look at watches much when I went and did this big flip. My biggest thing was getting the phone, and then whatever came after, whatever was on the shop, I would just get. That was my thing. I didn't even do too much research. I said, just sell me things. What's new? Sell it to me. That's what I did with Samsung, right? Because it was really the phone that made me think. And the other thing was what had LTE, and the only thing that had LTE was the Samsung watches. So it was pretty easy for me to work out. I wasn't going to look at Fitbit. I was going to look at Garmin or anything like that because they don't do LTE. So only Samsung do LTE. And from very quickly it seems to be from a lot of reviewers said this Watch 3 was the closest to an Apple Watch. Everyone still thinks Apple Watch 3, and I have to say, I have to agree. Apple Watch 3, or even Apple Watch 3, even 4 or 5, doesn't really matter. I still find it superior in terms of speed, usability as well. But is still limiting for a few things. Now, one of the good things I've got to say from the Watch 3 for the Galaxy is the speakers. Now, with the music, for the Apple Watch, you do need to pair it to some wireless earphones or wireless earbuds to get any music if you're out on a run. I don't do much running, but I do other work, and I sometimes leave my phone around. So I'll be trying to put music through. Now, one of the annoying thing about the Apple Watch is you need to have wireless earphones or wireless headphones to pair it to the watch to listen to music that's stored on the phone. Now, with the Watch 3, you can actually use the onboard speakers which is great. So you don't need to have your wireless headphones or anything connected to listen to music that's stored on the watch, which is great. So I've done that. The other thing, sorry, thank you. Yeah, no problems at all. Hopefully I did answer your question a little bit there, Nicholas. Now, the other thing I found was a little bit annoying on the Watch 3 is, again, this is more about Spotify, and I'm taking it will be the same thing for the audio as well, because I've noticed. And like I said, I've got the wireless earbuds as well for both of them. Right. So I found one of the good things is with the Apple Watch is when you listen to music, it automatically knows it's listening to music and it adjusts the menu system to that. So if you're playing from Apple Music or Spotify, it already automatically adjusts itself to that application, and the crown will then become the volume button now of the dial will be to control the volume. Now that was very important. Whereas the Watch 3, it doesn't know that although it does know you're playing music, but it doesn't set the default app watch when you lift it up. It doesn't go straight to the music. It still stays on the watch face. So you've got to scroll all the way to the music app, and then after that, it still doesn't give you the volume button yet. You've got to press onto the watch face to then, so I should actually just bring this up to you. So I'll just show this to you on my camera. Sorry, I should really bring this up. So let me sort of, what have I done? Okay, here we go. So you go down to your, okay, so going down to your, I think this, let me bring, whoa. Go back. How do we go back? Oh, let's go back. So this is just weird with that one thing. So you just go to here. Sorry, my daughter, as you can see. So as you play this, you can then you have to actually press the volume button at the moment. Okay, and then you get your volume to go up and down. So it takes you 2 extra steps just to get to the volume, rather than this one here is automatically going to straight to the volume there. So that's one of the things I found was really nice with the Apple Watch that I really missed of the Samsung did not copy that. Maybe there is, if you do know, if you do own one of these and you know there's a shortcut to it to get it set to that, definitely please put a comment below. I will be definitely reading that to see how to actually do that. So that's one of the things I do miss of the Apple Watch. Yeah, so yeah, definitely that's one thing. I've got to say there is also a limitations on the amount of applications on the Watch 3. There's not much at all, whereas this there's a lot of applications I do run. I used to play some games or some things on this, and a lot of the companion apps will have watch app for it as well too, whereas the Samsung Watch wasn't much. I didn't have much. It's pretty much what's the default, and really it's more of a fit sort of style, exercise, health sort of thing. That I don't mind. It's pretty much about on par with Apple, but that's definitely lacking some of the application support there, whereas this was, then again, because my phone was so slow, I ended up using my Apple Watch for a lot of applications, even getting like loyalty cards and things like that. So that was one of the things I kind of missed from the Apple Watch to this. I'm now pulling my phone out more because I couldn't get it on my watch. But hopefully maybe time will tell. We might get some more application support from the Samsung store there anyway. So yeah, definitely. Now, now I might switch these two around. Now, let's go down to the AirPods and the Galaxy Buds Live. Now, I was considering the Apple Pods Pro, but I decided I might as well stick with the ecosystem of Samsung and just get the full experience there. I have heard the Apple Pods Pro before, and I definitely got to say these Samsung Buds they're much better in sound wise for me personally. I think the sound of the Pods Live were way better. Better bass. I know people prefer the live treble from the AirPod Pros, but the bass and just mids, I find the Buds Live were way better, and I found them better than just the default, headphones that Apple gives you. I definitely find these were way better there. Now, as for, of course, stylish wise, the Buds Live looks so much nicer as well compared to these two picks anyway. Another thing I've got to say is the noise cancelling on the Live Buds, they're literally rubbish. You might as well turn them off just to save battery on it. Oh, sorry, I better should talk to you about the battery life from these two, actually. So just talking about the battery life. Now, the battery life, because I've got LTE running, and the other thing really nice about the Watch Free is the watch faces. Oh, you can get so many watch faces. It's just so nice, and you just pay like $1 or $2. There's so many free ones as well, but you can customize so much of it. So that I really do say I really like. I think the ones I've got here, if you can see, or I might just bring up here. It's so nice to actually have a nice looking watch face. I'll just bring this up here. It's just nice to actually have a nice watch face. You can bring other things here as well. So, you can edit some different ones here. It's just nice to actually have a whole bunch of different watch faces, and people design them as well, whereas you're very limited on what watch faces Apple will give you for the Apple Watch. And if you want the latest, greatest new one, you've got to pay a new device for the Apple Watch, the next Apple Watch anyway, so that's a bit of annoyance. Anyway, and I have noticed there seems to be a bit of a battery drain on some of the new watch face, or some customized watch faces. I'm not sure what it is. It could be some sort of like bad application writing, I don't know, for that. But as for battery life, and I do have this on always on as well at the moment. So this whole week I've pretty much, so I will average around about from full charge, and I will then go for lasts about 2 days on a full charge on this Watch Free with the always on and LTE on as well. Now with the Apple Watch Free, I was getting 2 days as well. So it's pretty much on par. But if I took the always show on, if I took that, disable that, I'm sure I'll be able to probably pull another, I probably wouldn't be surprised to pull 3 days out of this as well. I do know LTE does take a bit of a drain there. So I just find probably the battery on this one here is a lot better, though I am comparing to an old Watch Free. But I'm thinking Series 5 wouldn't be that much difference to the Series 3 anyway. So just to let you know the battery life for these two. Now anyway, going back to the AirPods. Now, sound quality wise, it is a very easy win for the Buds Live, and I really do say I actually like, especially if I'm paying for some good sounding things, it's good to see a very good sounding earbuds. Besides looking good, that I really like the fact that the design is, it flushes straight in your ear, which I'll just show you straight in. It does take a little bit of jerkiness just to get it in there, but once you get it in there, it's very great. Because what I find really nice is, and I've walked past by a lot of people who don't really realize I've got some earphones in, is if you're watching things or sleeping as well, when you're laying down, I find this is really nice. You can just lay down and you won't find it annoying you at all. Whereas this one here, if you're, sorry, put the music on there. Now, if you find that you're off the AirPods, and probably AirPod Pro would be the exact same problem, is if you're laying down, you'll find that will start sticking in your ear and it starts to become very uncomfortable if you're laying down. Whereas the Buds Live, if you're laying down and having something over here, you won't find it having a problem at all. So I find that I find these way more comfortable than AirPods as well. Now, I know that the AirPod Pros, they've got that silicone thing. I've never been a fan of the silicone thing for myself. I've always had issues with a lot of AirPods that had silicone. I know some people love them, and they do create a nice, good passive noise cancelling there, whereas this one doesn't have, and you really need to fit them in properly in to get some sort of blockage of outstanding. But else, I'm fine because I don't really go for the noise cancelling. But if you are traveling with airplanes or trains and you don't really want noise cancelling, definitely go with the AirPod Pros. These practically wouldn't say they have got any sort of noise cancelling at all. It does advertise it. Maybe with a firmware update they might bang it up a little bit better, but I don't see them there. So active noise cancelling. This has none, I would probably say. So just turn it off, just save yourself battery for sure. Now, as for the other thing I've got to say with the Buds Live here is I like how they're shaped, but they are difficult to hold. So once you get out of your like out of your ear, you do need to make sure and fiddly try and catch them, because they're a little bit slippery. So it'd be nice if Samsung made these a little bit more of a matte feel to it, because I've slipped and just basically let it fall. I was like, oh crap, I've just dropped it again. So I've dropped these a few times now, and I'm starting to get used to taking them out and not holding them, well, trying to catch them more than anything else, because these are very easy, because you just go in and then you just use a stem just to take them out, whereas these ones you really got to dig them out of your ear, and that's where it kind of drops very quickly. So you've got to kind of catch them. So that's one thing I've got to find the Buds Live is a little bit, got to be careful and just getting used to it in a way. The other thing that I found with the Buds Live is, what was the thing here? The charging on it. It's actually just quite fast, actually. I think they're both charging very quick. But I definitely like, because this has got wireless charging as well. This doesn't have, this one is old one doesn't have wireless charging. I know the new one does. I actually quite like how fast it charges. It probably charges just as fast as AirPods. So time wise, it's not bad. And the shape of it is magnetic when it gets into here. So that's nice. It took me a little bit to get used to getting them in. But definitely I do like the fact that it opens up this way rather than this way here. So it is a little bit thicker, not by much, at all. Actually, it is actually quite a fair bit, actually, probably nearly about a third thicker. Okay, maybe they are. But for my pockets, I didn't find that much difference anyway. And you can get them in different colors, which is great, whereas the AirPods, they only come with one color, which is white. They stand out like a toothpick, like easy anyway. So that's definitely it. But both of them slam up really nice. But definitely, I've got to say, I still really do like the Buds Live. There was one more other thing I want to talk about the Buds Live, and I've just forgotten what it is, but it will come back to me a little bit later on. Do you guys have any questions while I'm at it? Before I keep blabbering on about there? How many have we got people running? We've got 4 people running. That's sitting in here. G'day to you all. I'm hoping you guys find this a little bit useful on this whole transition for sure. But yeah, definitely I am really enjoying my experience over moving from Apple to the Android system. And like I said, I actually do connect this up to the computer to grab the videos, especially the videos, whereas the iPhones I could not do. And that was one of the major things I just wanted to move away from, because I could not work with the iPhone with a Windows computer. It's just been such a hassle to do anything. I couldn't barely do anything on this at all. So I definitely had to move away from that, because I'm pretty much decided I'm not going to stick with Apple with the Mac Pro or the iMac Pro neither. Just quite simply, I just can't find the software running very well, because I run different softwares anyway. So yeah, but yep. And the other thing I want to say was about the case wise. I got a really nasty case. The other thing I like about the Samsung FE is it comes with, I'm just going to try and bring it out here. If it does come out, no, it will come out. It'll come up. There you go. It's got a plastic back. Now I know some people don't like plastic, but I like plastic backs for FEs, because I don't like the glass back. I've seen so many people who've cracked the back of their the phones, who've left their phones naked. They've cracked the glass, and it's expensive as probably the replacement of the glass at the back for iPhone 12 or 11 or 10 is probably the price of this phone here. That's how expensive it is in Australia. It's around about $900 to $1,000 to replace just the back glass. The front glasses, I think around in Australia is around about $500, so it's a half the price for that. But the back glass is very expensive to replace if you crack that. So, but it's probably not a big thing for some people if they've got a case on it. But also the other thing I found while I was I support both of these two phones anyway. I also found the warranty wise is there's less, catch me on warranty wise for the Samsung Samsung Care compared to the Apple Care. Apple Care is very nasty. They've got some clauses there, especially if you've got water damage, they will just void it for the Apple one. So that was something I didn't really enjoy about. Whereas the Samsung, it's pretty much, if you can get the phone to them, back to them in some sort of way, they'll give you a new one. So, or replacement, refurbished one, that's fine. I'm all right with that. Whereas these, it's like a gamble when you go to the Apple store. Will I be able to get a replacement one or not? Or I'll be forking out another 2/3 of the phone price. So that's definitely one thing. I was a little bit annoyed by Apple, and I'm trying to move away from it because I didn't like their warranties for sure. Anyway, so yeah, hopefully maybe you guys learned anything. I don't really remember what I had to say about these. It'll probably come back to me a little bit later on what I wanted to say. I had a little thing about the AirPods, the Buds Live here. But yeah, definitely, I'm really enjoying the sound quality because I found the sound quality was no different to your free earphones from Apple. So I was very disappointed, but it's just nice to have wireless. And I have tried using one side by themselves because I do that a lot, just one side only, and they do work very well for that. So they have been a fantastic replacement to the AirPods there. As for the, like I said, noise cancelling is something that this does not have, but sound quality, this was so much better. I really do enjoy having these ones here. For sure, and of course they come in 3 different colors. I'm just going to keep it black rather than the boring white, and I have enough white. So yeah, does anyone have any more questions to me or anything like that? Or if not, or you can even go for computer questions as well. While I'm at it, I might as well show you something. So I haven't actually, I've been very, very busy last week. I'm just so busy. I have been recording stuff, I just haven't had time to edit things. I've got around about a good backlog of around about 6 or so videos to edit. I just haven't time because editing takes a lot of my time. But yeah, so this one actually came in finally, which is the Lenovo T14. Now this is the AMD version, so I am really enjoying this AMD version. I've been playing with it and I've been benchmarking, and it is impressive. But I will bring that video out. I'm actually just doing some battery tests now, so it's been running and I've just turned it off before anyway. But definitely, it is a very impressive benchmarks for this processor for sure. I definitely would advise people, if you're definitely looking at T14, just straight up, definitely look at the AMD. Unless you need vPro, look at the AMD Ryzen version for it. That is a really good value computer. Compared to the Intel anyway. I am hopefully getting the new 11th gen XPS sometime soon, so we'll be able to test how that runs, because one of the things about the benchmarks for the Ryzen 7 has a very good 3D graphics side of things. Now with the 11th gen Intel, I do know that with the RS, whatever it's called, they've updated that and it's been probably double what the 10th gen is, but the 11th gen has really, so it could actually chase up. I'll find out in benchmark wise when I do get that in. I don't really watch other people's benchmarks, so I can actually don't get a bias review when I do get them in. So I've been holding them out. I know people have already got them in, so I'll just do my own review just to find out how they are, so I don't actually get influenced by those people there. So definitely, I am interested to see that in 11th gen wise as well. Now there's another product that I'm really interested in, which is the Lenovo Nano as well. I'm trying to get that in when that made available as well. So that's a very interesting one. That would probably compete against the Dell XPS's 13. So definitely something to watch out in the space of a few months here. It does going to take time because of the COVID as well too. So I've tried to get one in for order or whatever you call it. I've already placed a reserve for it anyway. So yes. Do you guys have any questions, even for computers or anything like that? I'm thinking, if not, I might actually just call it out on night because it's pretty late. We're getting late for everyone. And I'm not sure. Actually, where are you guys currently from? That's currently joined me here for this live stream. Got anything? So I know there's a bit of a delay here. It's about 20 or so seconds for a delay. If not, I've got anything? No, that's all right. But hopefully, I'm hoping the sound was all right as well. I wouldn't mind a feedback on the sound because I've had a lot of issues with some sound. So this is hopefully the first time that sound is working correctly. I am running off this lapel mic at the moment, so I'm hoping everything will be good. If not, we've got some thumbs up or anything like that. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys got about any of these products or even my experience. And I really still can't remember what I wanted to say about these Buds Live anyway. So if not, I'll catch you guys next time. I think the next one I'm going to bring out is probably the X1 Carbon 8th Gen. That should be hopefully done within the next few days anyway. And I've got a few of these T14 and the P14S as well, and I've got the Dell's Precisions as well. It's coming through, so I just got to process all those there. I've actually done all the filming. I just got to process them through data, right? Anyway, as always, guys, just remember, imperfections in life makes it beautiful and interesting. I'll see you guys next time.